Hi everyone, welcome to Ask an Armourer. My name's Kia and today I'm going to be showing you the process for how I cut a full-length tang down to a pistol grip length. All you're going to need for this is the blade in question as well as the handle you're going to want to use. So I've got this right-handed one here. You're going to need a hacksaw. You're going to need a towel or glove, something to protect your hand. You're going to need a file, and if you have it, a 6mm die set like this, and finally, a permanent marker. Now, before we actually start doing anything to set up to cut the tang down, you're going to want to make sure that the wire is safely out of the way. It would be very frustrating if, as we are working on this, the wire somehow gets caught either in the vice jaws or in the hacksaw blades, and therefore breaks, and we now have to rewire the entire thing rather than just being able to assemble our weapon. So this, as you can see, is a brand new épée. It still has the protective tape on it from travel. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this and gently bend my wire out of the way and get it set up in the vise. Now, to get set up, I am going to put it so that the tang is pointing to my left. I'm right-handed, and this is just what makes most sense to me. If you are left-handed, you may find it more comfortable to have it face the other way. Play around with it, see what works for you, but this is what I'm going to use to set up. So again, I'm going to flip my blade so that the widest part is going horizontally. This will just allow it to fit into the vise better. I'm going to lay it in there, again being very careful that my wires are not going to get pinched in it. You want to tighten this down really well, as there will be a fair amount of vibration happening after this as you're sawing, so you really want to make sure this is well held. And then finally we're just going to bend this out of the way. I'm just going to kind of hook it around the blade on the other side so it really stays out of the way of everything. So now, to actually determine that the length you want, you're going to take your handle and slide it onto your blade. You don't need to worry about having the full bell guard and pad and everything in there, as this is just sort of an approximate measure so that we know roughly where we're going, and then we'll adjust slightly later. Now, once you have your handle on, take your permanent marker, and right on the inside of the handle at that lowest point, you're just going to make a bit of a mark. Now take your handle off, and because this is where you want the absolute end of the nut to be, you're going to cut about 1/2 centimeter closer to the blade. So I just make a second marking there. So again, here is my original mark, and then over here is where I'm actually going to be cutting. And now we can get ready to cut. I do recommend you put safety glasses on at this point, as we will be dealing with some metal shavings, and we would just always prefer to be safe and not lose functionality in our eyeballs than sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my towel here. Again, if you have a glove or something like that, really what this is going to be doing is protecting your hand from the vibration as well as the heat generated from the friction of sawing. So this, I'm just going to drape over this excess amount of tang here, and I'm going to use this to hold on to brace the tang itself. Now I'm going to grab my hacksaw and I'm going to get started. So to do this, I am actually going to lay my blade on that second marking, again the one closer to the blade from the tang. You're going to start and just do a couple just pulls towards you. What you're just doing is, to make your life a little easier, you're starting the saw groove so that when you go back and forth, it is easier and it doesn't wobble all over the place for you. So now I have a slight divot here, which I know will guide the saw blade a little bit better for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue. I will cut all the way down. Make sure that you are using the full length of the saw blade and letting the teeth do the work for you. There's no need to push into it, just nicely back and forth. You'll get through it far faster than you realize. And there, I was just able, you can see that little nub of metal left there, just snap the rest of that off. Again, this is very warm on both sides of this, so give it a minute or two to come back to room temperature before you touch it directly. And there you go, your tang is now cut to the correct length. You can, if you're in a hurry, leave it at this, but I'm going to go on and do a couple more just cleanup steps to make this a little bit less sharp and a little less dangerous. So for this, I'm going to re-release my wire, again being sure that we haven't gotten caught up anywhere, and take the blade out of the horizontal position, and I'm going to mount it vertically. So now I'm going to take my file and I am going to go around all of the edges of the cut tang, and I'm just going to file upwards and inwards so any excess material is concentrated in the middle rather than kind of flaring out from the top, so that it's all nicely contained and I can do one final sweep of the top to take it all off. And again, this will sound horrible when you're doing it. I can at least edit that out when I am showing you the video, but just be warned, it will sound horrible. And finally, I'm just going to take my die set and I'm just going to do a couple of turns around the top to help clean up any of these top tines that have gotten a little chewed up by the filing and the hacksaw. So you're just going to take it, you're going to want to line the tang up in the middle of there. And again, it should slide on nicely. And you don't need to go far, you just need to go a few turns like this before taking it off. And there you go. As a final cleanup, I will just take off any extra little bits of metal with my towel, and there you go. My tang is now completely cut to length and it's ready for assembly. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to like and subscribe, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, or other topics you'd like me to cover in the future, let me know down below. See you in the next one. Bye.